Okay, boys and girls, for today's lesson, we're going to deal with winches. I've been bad, and I haven't serviced my winches for over 18 months. I would suggest popping the tops off and having a look and a little clean and a wipe every 1,000 miles. So I need to service it, see what I find inside, because yeah, as I said, it's been 18 months and done way too many miles on it. But when I did service it, I did a full strip down, full clean, and serviced them the right way. And we'll actually see how that's held up over time. I was trying out a new winch grease, which I'd not used before. So yeah, let's have a look. If you're wondering, okay, I'm going to do the full service and all the rest, and this applies to any of the winches, whether it's Harkin, Anderson, whatever. The only thing that'll change is the methodology of ripping it apart, but the gears, the greases, and the oils, and the way that you coat them and lubricate them and everything is just the same for a cruising boat. It's different for the racing boats, but the way we grease and oil them for a racing boat is different because we want them to spin with a minimum friction, so we tend to use more oils than greases. And whereas here I tend to use more greases than oils because it sticks better. But also we'll have a look at some of the greases and oils that I use, because you can't just use any old grease and oil. And I'll show you, you can use like wheel bearing grease if that's the only thing you've got available to you, but so don't recommend it. It turns to cack inside the winch. But anyway, we'll have a look at how disastrous mine are after leaving them for too long. Let's have a look. Here's one of the 5 winches in question. It's an Anderson 46, not electric, nothing electric on our boat. Original with the boat, so these are 30 years old, and I'd have to say quite impressed. The previous owner gave them, how would you say, a really hard time. The strippers and the jaws were bent and buckled, and yeah, inside was like dealing with concrete rather than grease. Nothing shy of horrendous. Anyway, we're gonna have a look at these ones after I'd serviced them, and now we're 18 months in. You can actually see some of the vice marks from when I was trying to straighten everything else in the vice. Let's see what it looks like. There you go. It's looking pretty good. Looking really good. There's a little bit of water in there because we had a bit of a salty sail over here. To be honest, looks really freaking good. Now, one thing you may notice here is that the winch is not caked in grease. All right, that's a very important factor. All right, there you go. Here's my winch grease. A little bit dirty, but nothing to write home about. Yeah, actually, super happy. Quite impressed. Well, that's really cool. I was a little bit worried that things might be either a bit dry or a bit stuck up. But that grease is cool. Still quite greasy. Right, we want to try and keep everything as clean as possible, including the boat and me. I'm wearing my good pants, don't tell Anna. Right, that's where I'm going to put my dirty stuff. Take the bearing retaining clip out. Those, oh, looking good. Want to play the game? Oh yeah, okay. There's a bit more grubby. That's seen a bit of action. But, you know, it's not bad. An input drive shaft's not coming out as a bit of a worry. Oh, yeah. It's possibly a little bit too greasy, but it's paid off a little bit for this not touching it for 18 months job. Ruh-roh. That's no buenos. Okay, so this retainer clip here is actually broken off a little bit. That's a bugger, because these are actually quite hard to get. And it's stuck in here. Come on. There it is. Bugger. Now the input shot comes out. Quite nice. Cool.
Some other different pants other than your only good pair of shorts.
There it is.
Were you waiting for that one?
Yep.
So you know, Shane. Oh my God.
I'll go and put my working on boat pants on.
That would be fantastic.
Okay, so I've changed my pants. Can't get in trouble now. See? Dirty pants. Right. And a bench full of dirty parts. And a tower that needs some cleaning. So let's get into cleaning it up and lubing it up and getting it ready to put back together. But let's have a look at what I used last time. Some of the things. So I used this liquid moly marine winch grease, and I got it in Croatia by the looks of it. Croatia or Greece. But anyway, liquid moly marine winch grease from Muden, Germany. Quite impressed. Has done very well, to be honest. Stayed quite liquidy. It's a little bit sticky, so it's a little bit draggy. Certainly as far as a race winch is concerned, it's a bit draggy, but I'm impressed with how long it's sort of stuck together and kept everything looking good. Harken pawl oil gets used on the pawls. The pawls are those little silver things. So I actually put a very light smearing over it all, and then I put this in there as well. And this actually displaces the grease a little bit and makes it all click better, and the grease still hangs around, protects everything from the wet. This one, Harken white winch grease. Everyone probably knows this stuff. I'm pretty sure it's just white grease packaged. So yeah, any marine white grease is definitely better than this stuff. Well, even this stuff's better because this is actually designed for the water. But a normal, they call it opal grease or blue grease or any wheel bearing greases. They're generally not that great. Look, totally waterproof, won't wash out. So this is sort of the next step up. And at a pinch, you'd probably use this if you didn't have any of the others. If you didn't have any of those, you'd go to something like this. But don't use, here we go. This is a white grease, a little bit better than wheel bearing grease because it's supposedly able to handle the water better. But yeah, this, no, definitely no. All right, I'm gonna do some part cleaning. How much do you clean the parts? You clean them clean. Like if you give it a lick with your tongue, that clean. When you got gears and things, you leave any of this sort of black stuff around, it's black because it's got dirt and grime and all sorts of particles stuck in it. If you leave it in there, that turns into a grinding paste. And when it's a grinding paste, well, you guess it, it's going to grind stuff away. And that's where you get all your wear and tear from. And that's why the race winches, we service them basically after every day because they're spinning around a lot and really fast. There's lots of little tiny particles from the gears and salts and pawls, shafts and bearings and everything going around at 1,000,000 miles an hour. We need to get rid of all the particles out of the grease, and when the grease goes in clean, it hasn't got those particles, so they don't wear out as fast, and they also spin more freely, etc, etc, etc. So yes, you can use solvents and things to clean with, and when I did the first clean, I used petrol, gasoline. That's all I had. all that I had that would remove the grease that was attached to everything. It was so caked on and so hard that it needed petrol to break it down. You got degreasers, that's great, use those. I've already pre-cleaned everything, and the grease I've used is actually really good and it survived really well. So it looks like just using the paper towel for a clean is going to be not a drama at all. Right, there we go, we're in. 2 pulls are in. Now, with the gear sets, the pulls you'll see are up at the... So here's the thickness of the gear from the gear here to the top here. But the pulls only sort of take 2/3 of that, and there's no pull here. So what I tend to do is look for where the pull's been wearing on the inside of this gear set, and then actually flip it over so it's got new surface to wear on, and that tries to keep all the wear a bit more evenly over the gear. Every time you service it, you flip it over, keeps all the inside a little bit more savvy for wear. Gear oil. Nice McNice. A little bit of spooge for the gears themselves. Right, so those 2 clusters are ready, their pins are ready to go. Lots of grease on my fingers, so thrust washer's going to get some love. Things I noticed was this thrust washer's got a groove in it, but that was actually from the previous owner, not putting it together properly. So it wore a groove in it, but it's on the underside, so not too stressed. Right, pin all nicely greased. And input shaft. Right, keep the bearings a smooch. So you can see just how much grease I'm not putting on. There's literally just enough grease to cover everything, to make it all just a little bit slippery and greasy. Right, ready to start putting stuff in the tower. So, yay! Time to put it all back together now. Find it quite useful. Get your phone, take a picture of every step of you pulling it apart. Makes a reverse assembly manual when you go to put it back together. Very, very, very helpful, especially on winches you're not accustomed to dealing with. So nice, simple winches these. To be completely honest, all winches are quite simple. So I'm just putting a small smear over everything here. It's just to keep it all nice and shiny. Try and keep all the green corrosion at bay a little bit. Call me a bit funny for wanting to keep my boat a bit nice, especially in here. But yeah, okay. Things cost a lot of money, so you want to keep them in good shape. So you can see, if you keep them nice and clean, when it comes to servicing them time, get a little bit not excited, but you know, you're happy to work on something that's nice and clean, and you can take it right in. A few of you saying, "Oh, don't cover all the tower and stuff because all the dirt and grot's going to stick to it." Yeah, not really. You saw it come out, how it came out, and how much grease and grot there wasn't stuck to it. Some winches you might get, you know, if it's sitting in the city a lot and you get a lot of dirty rain. But it's happening. We've got a lot of dirty rain when we're in Spain. These came out pretty well. But yeah. It's just more about servicing them often. Big one went that way. Now I can put the washer on and the bearings. Retaining clip. Now, because this retaining clip is broken, I don't have another one. Just going back in. Need to put the main shaft in, dumbass. On the main shaft. There it goes. Ready to take fingers off. Right. Still works. Let's get stuff on there. Oh, give it a big whack, Shane. Take a little bit more care than I did just then. Right, self-tailer lined back up in the position where it wants to be.